Hello everyone and welcome back to World Regional Geography. This week we are going to cover Central America and the Caribbean. This will also include Mexico. For our chapter, we're only going to focus on the parts that include Mexico, Central America, and the Caribbean. And next week we will focus on South America. As I have mentioned, in this region, we're going to cover Mexico as the largest country and the biggest economy. In fact, after Brazil, Mexico is the second economy of Latin America. We're also going to focus briefly on the Central American countries and the largest countries in their history of the Caribbean. The Lesser Antilles, which are the smallest islands on the Caribbean basin, are also interesting, and they have very diverse histories with Dutch, British, Spanish, and French colonization as well. There is a geographic atlas activity where you're going to be matching the country names for North America and also for the Caribbean countries and territories. In terms of Mexico's physical geography, we are focusing first on the main mountain chains. Mexico has three main mountain chains: the Sierra Madre Occidental, which is the western Sierra Madre, and the eastern Sierra Madre. And Mexico also has a large plateau here in the center of the country with large elevation. In the south, we have the Sierra Madre del Sur, or the Sierra Madre of the South. Besides the central plateau, Mexico also has two important peninsulas. The Yucatan Peninsula is one of them in the Gulf of Mexico, and the Baja California Peninsula, which almost closes off the Gulf of California. Like Central America and the Caribbean, Mexico also sees tectonic activity, and because of this, there are also several volcanoes. The most well-known volcano in Mexico is the Popocatépetl, but there are a series of volcanoes that cross from eastern Mexico all the way to the west, including the volcano of Tequila, the volcano, the Nevado of Colima, and also the Nevado of Orizaba. Other important bodies of water in the region are the Gulf of Mexico, which is rich in oil and natural gas deposits, the Gulf of California, which has a rich ocean biodiversity, and there are some lakes. The largest lake in the country is the Lake of Chapala in the state of Jalisco. In terms of rivers, Mexico has a few rivers, but only a few of these in the southeast of the country are remarkable. We don't have a lot of rivers for inland navigation, for example. The Coatzacoalcos River is the most important river in Mexico in the southwest. In Central America, we're going to find a similar geography because this region has also been shaped by plate tectonics, especially moving north to south from Guatemala through El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, and Costa Rica all the way to Panama. We're going to find what is known as the Central American Volcanic Arc or Volcanic Belt. We also have important lakes, like the Lake Managua here in Nicaragua, which is the largest. And we have several coastal plains, which are used for plantation agriculture, especially bananas and tropical fruits in Nicaragua, Honduras, and also El Salvador and Guatemala. Another important feature is the Isthmus of Panama, this small isthmus, this piece of land that connects the Caribbean and the Pacific Oceans, and which saw the construction of the Panama Canal in the late 19th, early 20th century to create a main navigation route to connect the Atlantic and the Pacific Oceans. In the Caribbean, we're going to find Cuba, which is the largest island, followed by the Dominican Republic and Haiti, which share one island. And then we also have Jamaica and Puerto Rico, which are two of the largest islands. The Lesser Antilles is this island chain that I mentioned briefly. This is also formed by volcanoes, and we often see volcanic activity in the area. In terms of climate types, we have a lot of variation, but a lot of this is going to point to tropical regions because we are in the subtropical regions near the equator as well. We have mostly tropical areas in southern Mexico, Central America, and the Caribbean, but we also have some dry, arid climates, especially in northern Mexico, in the Chihuahuan Desert, and the Sonoran Desert, which spills over into Arizona. And we also have some areas that are temperate, especially in central Mexico, where the rainy season is in the summer. As I had mentioned, tectonic activity has shaped the physical geography of the region. This is because we have several tectonic plates that converge in the area. For example, we have two large plates, the North American plate and the South American plate, but these are also pushing against smaller plates like the Cocoa Plate, the Panama Plate, the Caribbean Plate highlighted here in red, and the North Andes Plate. The other large plate is also the Nazca Plate. They are all pushing in different directions, and this creates a lot of earthquake activity. In fact, a few weeks ago, Mexico had an earthquake. Mexico City also suffers from earthquakes, and because the city was built on a lake, which I'll talk about in the culture section, there are some buildings that are also sinking in the city. Another component of the region is also hurricanes. This is the same phenomenon that we see in Asia, referred to as a typhoon, or South Asia, which is referred to as a cyclone. Hurricane is the word for tropical storm of the indigenous people of the Caribbeans. And in the Caribbean indigenous groups, in the Mayans, for example, hurricanes were thought to be deities, important gods of the weather. But this is basically a phenomenon that we see here in the equatorial regions, which generates tropical storms because of the heat that this area receives a lot of sunlight throughout the year. And so we have the warmest water, which is able to be lifted and create cyclones, typhoons, and hurricanes. The main environmental challenges for the region are deforestation in Central America and the Caribbean, but also water quality, especially because in Mexico, for example, but also in Central America, mining companies often pollute the water. Urban centers also often lack a clean water infrastructure, and many people have to rely on trucks that bring in water, but that is a very irregular way to receive water. And we also have air pollution, especially in large cities like Mexico City, where we see thermal inversion because the city is in a valley surrounded by mountains. And so oftentimes a lot of the pollution rises to the city, rises above the city, but it does not dissipate because it is encircled in this valley of mountains. And of course, for the Caribbean and Central American countries, climate change is a major challenge, especially because it affects agriculture. Many of the people that we see migrating out of Central America, in part, are migrating because their agricultural land is no longer as productive as it used to be, and so they're looking for new livelihoods. And of course, the Caribbean islands are the ones that see the strength of hurricanes during hurricane season, which now starts earlier than June and goes into November. A few years ago, for example, Hurricane Maria really struck Puerto Rico and affected all of the island's infrastructure. There is also a video that I'm sharing in the extra resources if you want to learn about how climate change will affect coffee production in South and Central America. Okay, that's it for the section on physical geography. I will move on to history and culture.